We're ready. It worked.
Okay, so we're back online. Okay, all right, thank you so much. We're back online, so at this time, we're going to call the meeting back in session. So at this time, we've gone through roll call and we're session. We're now at the approval of the minutes, of the agenda. There's no items to be added or deleted other than items 2A and 2B if you follow along with us. That has been a request from staff that they be removed. Are there any other considerations for the agenda? Hearing none, motion please.
Mr. Mayor, I so move that we approve the agenda with the deletions as noted.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is carried. And of course, at this point, we have no other items for the consent agenda that is noted. Those two were removed. But are there any other items to be considered to be added to the consent agenda? Hearing none, this time we'll proceed in our agenda. Our next item is item 4A, and this is a presentation by the Palm Beach County Ethics Commission. And we have Ms. Gina Levesque. Okay, close, agree. And Intake and Compliance Manager. And we have with her is?
Alan Johnson.
Alan Johnson. Okay, yes. Okay, thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, before she begins her presentation, on my agenda, items 7A and B are consent. Is that?
They were voted to be removed.
No, 2A.
I'm sorry.
2A.
You said 2A?
This was 7, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7?
So we need a motion and approve the consent agenda.
Bills and vouchers.
I'm sorry, just before we do, I thought I heard 2A and B.
Correct. But 7A and 7B are also.
Okay.
G and D are B are on the consent agenda.
Oh, my sincere apologies. I looked over and I just drove in from Broward. I'm extremely tired. I overlooked.
Sorry,
Thanks so
Mayor,
much.
thank you.
My apologies. So we'll just attend to that. So we do have a couple items for the consent agenda. We have item 7A, which is bills and vouchers, as noted on the agenda. We also have 7B, bills and vouchers, as noted from both our general and our Parks and Recreation for 7A. For 7B, we have the amounts that are listed from our utility fund. We also have our deposits that are listed as well. And those are the items, if you have an agenda with us, if not, we'll read those into the record. Okay, Roddy, thanks so much. So as listed there for your agenda, are there any other items to be considered or removed from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. So clarification for the record, we do have items that are listed on the agenda, item 7A, 7B, and 7C, which are bills and vouchers. 7A and B, which are bills and vouchers, as noted. Hearing that there's no other items to be added or deleted, a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda items of 7A and B.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much, and thank you for helping to clear that up. I totally looked right past it. So at this time, we're going to continue on our agenda, and our next item at this time is item 4A. And thank you so much, and good evening.
Good evening. My name is Gina Levesque, Intake and Compliance Manager for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. I was here about a month or so ago speaking to you all about our office, and I misspoke during that meeting. I indicated that outside employment, when asked by Commissioner Smith, I indicated that outside employment is one of the ordinances that we don't have jurisdiction, when in fact that outside employment, I was actually speaking about the post-employment ordinance, and that pertains to primarily high-level Palm Beach County employees after they leave employment with the county. I would also like to clarify that there are specific outside employment rules and requirements of both the City and Palm Beach County Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics Section 2-443 under prohibited conduct is the section of the code that refers to outside employment. Sections D and E within the prohibited conduct section are noteworthy regarding outside employment. Section D, if I can find it, is contractual relationships. And that one states that you cannot enter into contract with your public employer. So I wanted to make that clear because I felt like Commissioner Smith had some questions, and I may have misled him to believe that we had no jurisdiction over that. So I just wanted to clarify that. So hopefully that part's cleared up and we can move forward without any misunderstandings.
Well, certainly, and we certainly appreciate the clarification, and we do have this before us, and it's so noted for the record. Are there any questions or comments as it relates to the conversation previous, or questions, follow-up questions that you may have had from that meeting or this meeting? Any council comments or questions?
Okay.
All righty. We really appreciate you taking the moment to come out and clarify, and the record is noted.
Okay,
with the
thank you very much
clarification.
for your time, and I apologize for the error.
Oh, that's quite okay.
Okay.
No, certainly. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Our next item is item 7B, and this is a proclamation declaring the winner of the town's flag competition. Ken?
So, Mr. Mayor, if we may, if it's okay to go out of order, we may come back to this. He's not present, but I'm anticipating that he would be here. So if it's okay with everyone, maybe once he gets here, we can go back to that.
Okay. There's a request from staff that we temporarily table this.
I agree.
Okay. Do we have consensus? Yeah. Okay. Ready, so we'll move on. Our next item is item 5, Palm Beach County League of Cities Committee.
Thank you, sir. The next, just for calendaring purposes, the next meeting is next week on the 26th. As I understand the RSVPs, because the September meeting was canceled due to the hurricane, I think the RSVPs transferred over. So if you RSVP'd for September, I believe you're grandfathered in and counted towards RSVP for October. But the October meeting is out in Palm Beach Gardens at the Sandhill Crane Golf and Country Club. The address is 9500 Sandhill Crane Drive. The presentation is the same as what was going to be presented last month. It's Tara Taggart from the Florida League of Cities, and her topic will be the new Local Government Cybersecurity Act and what you need to know to comply. So again, RSVP, confirm your RSVP if you confirm for September. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. No, any questions or comments for our meeting? Okay, hearing none. We will move on our agenda. Our next item is item 6, and we have ordinances and resolutions. The first we have is item 6A, and this is ordinance 202-02. This, of course, is a second reading, amending Appendix A zoning at Section 5. Amity?
Thank you, sir. I need to read this by title. So as you said, it's ordinance number 2022-02. It's an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Mangonia Park at Appendix A zoning at Section 5 definitions to add a definition for the term commercial vehicle, and at Section 14 general provisions to add requirements for commercial vehicle parking in residential zoning districts within the town, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Appendix A zoning shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. This is, as you say, second reading. First reading was, if I'm not mistaken, back in July. But I'll go ahead and go through the revisions. If you see at the bottom of page 1, / top of page 2, the first revision is to add an entirely new definition for the term commercial vehicle. This was based on your direction at previous council workshops and subsequent discussion at council meetings. But we're adding a new definition there. Section 2 on page 2, carrying over to page 3, we are adding regulations to prohibit certain commercial vehicles and trucks within what we're adding is the rear and side yards. Currently, your code prohibits them in front yards. We're adding other areas of the yards to prohibit those types of vehicles in residentially zoned property. And per your direction, there's an exemption built in there for vehicles that have commercial lettering, that have wraps. But those are essentially the substantive revisions on that ordinance, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. I say that this is a second reading. Are there any questions or comments that council may have regarding the proposed ordinance? Any comments or questions? Okay, hearing that there are none, and I think we may have had full discussion up on the first first reading. So if there's no other questions or comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I might add to the conversation, now these are second readings. You can make them effective you know, at your choosing, whether that's 60 days, 90 days. You know, we talked about it the first reading, giving the public a grace period to understand these better and to allow staff to do a educational period. So if this does pass, if all of these pass tonight, that would be council's pleasure on when they would become effective.
Just one clarification, if I may. So that they would become effective if adopted tonight. However, enforcement could be, sorry, just so the
Stand
record is
corrected.
clear.
Yep.
Sorry, thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Well, certainly, thanks so much. I know we did discuss, however brief it was, that we do need to have sort of a, I don't know if we want to call it a cool-off period, or just to make sure that that education did take place and we didn't just go right away with enforcement without notification. So with that, if there's no questions or comments regarding it, then of course, in the course of the motion, if you'd like to, of course, it will become, as our attorney stated, if it passed, it would become effective today upon passage, but however, in terms of the enforcement, we have a 2, 3 month, 4 month sort of cool-off period. That's up to the body here. So what is your pleasure?
I think that education period, a span of the options of 6 to 8 months, I think would be very reasonable and necessary.
Okay. Alrighty, so the vice mayor is suggesting 6 to 8 months for that period? Okay. Just before we proceed, let the record reflect that Councilwoman Webb has joined the dais. Okay, so that is a suggestion, a recommendation by the vice mayor. Other comments or questions as it relates to that? Okay. Right in here, the comment. I guess my only comment would be, it's a large window, almost a year, for it to actually become effective. Just a suggestion.
Open for
And of course,
discussion.
right, and so as we discussed, probably 3 to 4 months, I think is sufficient. Just in terms of how I see it. But we make that decision here, of course, and so we're just discussing. And certainly in my position, at least my suggestion would be definitely no more than 6 months.
Okay.
Okay, but that would just be my position. Other comments or questions?
I'm willing to restate that to 4 to 6 months.
Okay. Seeing that there's no other comments or questions, motion please.
My motion is to approve ordinance, number 22-02, including a information education period of 4 to 6 months in order to inform the community of this adjustment in our ordinance.
Motion has been made. Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman-
I'm sorry to interrupt, before roll call vote, if you could solicit public comment. I'm sorry, sir.
I'm so delayed. That long day got me. My apologies. And to anyone who's watching as well, my sincere apologies. At this time, we have moved and seconded. However, what we're going to do before we call the roll, we're going to open it up to the public for any comments that they may have. And this, of course, is as it relates to ordinance number 2022-02, and we're amending our zoning at section 5. So any comments or questions? If we have anyone online who have any comments or questions, we'll allow you that time as well.
For the record, you had 1 viewer, but you have 0.
Okay. Righty. So we'll allow that time just in case, just for the record. We'll allow the ample time to take place, and then we'll call the roll. Okay, seeing that there's no public comment, we'll close the floor to public comment and to return now to the dais. See if there's any other questions or comments as it relates to the proposed ordinance. Hearing none, motion please. I'm sorry, we have moved and seconded. So at this time, there's no other questions or comments. We'll now go to the roll.
Should call for a vote.
Yes, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
And Mayor Alberto.
Yes. Thank you so much. Our next agenda item is item 7B, and this is ordinance number 2022-03. This, of course, is second reading as well, amending Chapter 27 as it relates to vegetation and trash. Amending?
Thank you, sir. As you said, this is ordinance 2022-03, an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Mangonia Park at Chapter 27, Vegetation and Trash, at Article 2, Trash, Weeds, and Wild Growth, Section 27-16, High Weeds, Debris, Excavations Prohibited, to add prohibitions against accumulation of bulk and white goods within the town, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 27, Vegetation and Trash, shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. As you say, this is second reading. However, the revisions begin on page 2. You'll see a slight modification to subsection A, just to add a heading there. But subsection B is the substantive, B and C are the substantive additions, where we're adding in prohibitions about bulk goods and white goods and when they can be placed out in the yard, and then also a general prohibition about dumping. So those are the revisions proposed. And again, this was at your direction after workshopping and council discussion, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. You've heard it read by title. Are there any questions or comments that you may have regarding the ordinance? And our attorney will be more than happy to address those. Any questions or comments by council? Hearing no comments from the dais, we'll open the floor for public discussion to see if there's any comments or questions from the public. As it relates to ordinance number 2022-03, the second reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd so move that we approve ordinance 2022-03 as read.
Motion has been made to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 2022-03 upon second reading. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
and Mayor Alberto.
Yes. Thank you so much. Our next item is item 7C. And this is ordinance number 2022-04. This, of course, is second reading as well, amending Chapter 6 at Article 6, Division 2. Amending?
Thank you, sir. As you said, this is ordinance number 2022-04, an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Mangonia Park at Chapter 6, Buildings and Building Regulations, at Article 7, Housing Code, Division 2, Minimum Property Standards, Section 6-242, Responsibilities of Owners, Operators, and Occupants, to add requirements for outside storage within the town, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 6, Buildings and Building Regulations, shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. Again, this is second reading. We had additional discussion at previous workshops and council meetings. The addition is to try to add in regulations, you'll see on page 2, to try in residential zoning districts to add regulations to your code that govern and dictate how outside storage can present. It requires that there be neat and orderly outside storage, that if there's furniture out there, that it's outside furniture rather than what's intended to be inside furniture, and subjecting those to outside storage and council approval. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much. It has been read by title. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I would imagine we've had full discussion. We're going to open the floor to public comment to see if there's any comment from the public. Hearing none, we'll close the floor to public comment. And at this time, we'll entertain a vote. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the second reading of amendment, ordinance 2022-04 as read.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second it.
Has been properly moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 2022-04 upon second reading. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
and Mayor Alberry.
Yes. Thank you so much. Our next item is item 7D, and this is ordinance 2022-05, second reading as well, amending Chapter 6 at Article 8. Mitty?
Thank you, sir. As you said, this is ordinance 2022-05, an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Mangonia Park at Chapter 6, Buildings and Building Regulations, at Article 8, Abandoned and Vacant Structures, Section 6-364, Security Requirements for Vacant Structures, to add maintenance requirements for vacant buildings and structures within the town, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 6, Buildings and Building Regulations shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. Again, one minor revision on page 2, just to require that for vacant structures, when they are boarded up, when the windows are boarded up, that the wood be cut to size to fit in the window and painted to match the exterior of the building. Again, this is an ordinance that was at your direction from previous meetings, but with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you so much. It has been read by title, or are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll open the floor to public comment, see if there's any comment from the public. Hearing none, we'll close the floor to public comment. If there's no other further questions or comments on the motion, roll call, please. I'm sorry. Have we had it?
We haven't had a motion yet.
Motion, please, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we approve ordinance 2022-05, second reading as read.
Thank you so much. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance 2022-05 upon second reading. Are there any questions on the motion? Okay. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
and Mayor Alberry.
Yes. Thank you so much. Next item, and we're going to take now from the table. We had temporarily tabled item 7B. This was a proclamation at 4B, proclamation declaring the winner of the town's flag competition.
4B.
Okay. Alrighty, so we did have a contestant or contestants for the flag contest that we had put out there. And my understanding is that our winner is here. And so we're going to ask if the winner of our flag contest would just come forward.
Name.
He may not truly realize it yet, but Marquet
Oh, I'm
Webb
sorry. Thought we had made it known.
sent in the winning entry, and there's a copy of it in your packet. And I want to say from Marquet is a member of our youth council, and from day one, he was the most enthusiastic about this. We went through a workshop with the youth council, and everyone participated. It was great. Marquet's always been the most enthusiastic about it. And to his theme, we asked everyone to include the town seal and to have a mango tree in it. And he accomplished that, but what I really loved was the person sitting under the mango tree reading a book. And of course, I love the park benches as well. So we'll be getting with him soon. We'll tweak one or two things, and we'll get it up a flagpole soon and display it in here. But I wanted to congratulate Marquet for that. He's quite an artist and quite a young man.
Oh, certainly. And I think that he deserves a round of applause for his submission for winning the contest. So I'm going to take a moment, and any council member who would like to come down with me, we're going to award him his.
As long as you don't take pictures of my feet, you can do it.
submission and for being such a great artist. In my day, I was an artist as well. I can only draw flies now, so. I'll get back to it and then we'll have a contest. But thank you so much for submitting it. Congratulations on it.
Guys, hold the handshake and put it this way.
Hold it up. Hold it up. You want to hold it?
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go. All right. Let me. Okay.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
I'd like to shake your hand as well. Good job. Thank you so much for meeting my request.
Congratulations. You did.
Good job.
All right, we're gonna have that contest on. We're gonna start practicing.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay, and let's give another hand. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Okay. Alrighty, so at this time, we're going to go back now to our agenda, and we have a couple of items. Next item is item 7C, and this is a request for outside storage approval. This is Ken.
Mr. Mayor, I don't see the applicants here. They may not have been fully aware. I know they paid their fee, and we're pretty sure they submitted an application, but we'll, if it's okay, we'll table this. We'll bring it back once we make them aware of the date.
Okay. Certainly. Amity?
Thank you, sir. Just because you have it as a formal agenda item, if you could motion to table and do it officially, just so it's clear for the record. Thank you, sir.
Oh, certainly. And we certainly like to have every applicant, excuse me, come before so that if there's any questions or and some clarity needed. So if it's the pleasure of the council, we'll table this until the next meeting at a minimum for the next meeting. Okay, so motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I so move that we table the request for outside storage approval by Janice A. Hamilton Linval Roach, as listed on our agenda.
Okay. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that we table item 7C, which is a request for outside storage approval at 5450 Jeffrey Avenue. That motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. It is carried. Thanks so much. Our next item is item 7D, and this is a discussion on the purchase of a van to be used as transport for the Parks and Recreation Department and a vehicle to be used by administrative staff. Don't know what this is coming from. There was no discussion about it, but we'll listen to it. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, and welcome, Howard.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Of course, as you said, this proposal was brought before the council some time back, a month or so, to the purchase of a van and a car for usage for the code enforcement and staff. I did a little bit of research on the two vehicles in question, the van and the car. I would like to bring your attention to one of the vehicles that I also kind of previewed, which is outside the window here, which is driven by our
the Hyundai.
Right. That's the Hyundai Kona that I previewed. Okay. And I'll start with the car. At first, the discussion was about a Corolla, Toyota Corolla. So I looked at the two versions of the Corolla, which is the hybrid and the regular Corolla, which is basically about $2,000 to $4,000 difference in pricing. However, my thought was because of the code enforcement usage of the vehicle, I'm thinking that they should get more of SUV, which is a much higher vehicle in terms of there's a flooding and they need to go in certain places. It will be more durable. Plus for cargo, usage, which also will be used by the staff members. You know, of course, when we do our uh, yearly celebration with Christmas gifts and buying, you know, toys and stuff like that, it can be used for that purpose also, better than a Corolla could. Right. And in your package, it basically breaks down the benefits of buying the Kona. The miles per gallon, you know, which is like 31 miles per gallon to 30 to 35, you know, miles per gallon on the gas mileage in terms of highway versus local road. The safety features that it also boasts, airbags, of course, the four-wheel disc brakes on it. It's a 16-inch wheel and a 10-year drivetrain warranty. Right. Again, with this smaller vehicle that we're purchasing, I'm still doing a little bit of research on different ones based on the price that we were given to work with. It has to be what would you call a small SUV. The larger SUV will go a lot more up in pricing. So I just say this is, I'm still going to be working a little bit more and getting more details into the Kona, or even looking at other SUVs if you want to go that route, or stay with the Corolla hybrid or the regular Corolla. So, any questions?
And
before
Mr. Mayor, I think for tonight, just getting a little bit more direction from council. I think Howard's done a good job of narrowing this thing down. And I think if we get the direction from council tonight, perhaps at the November 1st meeting, we can come prepared to give recommendations and allow council to choose a vendor at that point. Howard, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Well, thanks. So we'll see if there's any other questions, and if there's other parts of the presentation, we'll do that as well. If there's any comments or questions at this point as it relates to the presentation and what's being presented.
Just for the car, I still have the other package, but I want to do it one by, individually.
Okay, so just for the purchase of the car. And of course, as how it was stating, would it be more feasible, well, there's two things, feasible and function. Of course, the Corolla hybrid would have the better mileage, from what I'm understanding, in
Yes.
terms of just a hybrid.
Yeah,
But might be a bit more cramped and not as utilitarian. Is that a good word? Same amount of utility, there we go, as a SUV, but what is your comments?
I mean, if it comes up to where, several of us are going somewhere, an SUV would be a lot comfortable, more comfortable, trying to pack in a small car.
Okay.
Right. I agree. I think a mid-sized car with the SUV capacity would be more feasible. I just wanted to find out, what was the workshop price we had for the car and the budget?
35 for the car.
35? Okay, so you still have room to work on that, to get a price that will fall. We still have plenty of room
Yeah.
to work on that, because I think it would be advisable to have the larger vehicle, the standard size, or the next grade up, whatever you call it, because compact, I think, is just not going to be as usable as we would need. I think we need to move up in a higher class to SUV, or as long as we're still in the price range.
The other thought also, because of the gas mileage with the hybrid, if, as you mentioned about, numerous council members, going on a trip or going somewhere, the van, I think, is not going to be everyday usage. So traveling to different locations as a group, the van will also be there.
Mhm.
So that's another thought process, you know, in looking at the choice of bigger SUVs, small SUV, or just going with the Corolla, which gives you a better resale value and also better gas mileage with the Corolla hybrid.
Is, is there a possibility of finding additional hybrids that may be in the SUV class?
I have looked at two so far, and both of them, one which was the Nissan, the reviews is that it's not as comfortable space-wise, whether with the seat itself and also cramping spacing. Also, the other one I looked at was the Ford EcoBoost. I think that's what it's called, Ford EcoBoost, and just bad reviews altogether. That came off the Ford Fiesta's platform. That's what I tried to build it off back in 2018, and it's been riddled with different issues. So I wouldn't even touch it with a 10-foot pole at
Right.
this point.
If we could just do more exploration, I think would be
Bigger
recommended.
SUV. Bigger SUV.
For the vehicle, yes, for the car. Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, great. So, the more confident one I have is the passenger van, which is the Ford Transit. And reason being, I have personal experience in utilizing this vehicle myself, so I know how it handles and the gas mileage and stuff like that. This passenger van, you know, is starting price at 46, which is a little bit over what the budget was for the van. However, if the car comes in less, then the funds can be utilized on this side also, right? So, also made contact with one salesperson that we've dealt with before at what's the word? At the Ford dealership where we bought the other vehicles.
Mullinax.
No, no,
Was it
Mullinax.
Mullinax? We didn't go there.
I forgot the name of it. But, yeah, from speaking with him, from speaking with that sales representative, I was able to get a little bit more in terms of delivery and minor information on this van itself. So we looked at the van to be 13 passenger or more. And I alluded that at first I thought like a 250 engine, but he said no, those only come like a 350. 350, however, you know, they all come with a standard 3.5 V6, you know, with the optional upgrade of an EcoBoost, which is bigger engine, more gas, of course, less mileage. So, and it's not necessary. As I say, I'm speaking from personal experience in using this vehicle for, you know, purposes. Right. It does come with that 10-speed transmission, which is good, pretty good. The warranty on this vehicle, you know, 3-year, 36,000 miles. You know, powertrain, 5 years to 60,000 miles on that. I've also previewed some like feedbacks from other users, like online, to see their response to this vehicle itself. Right, this vehicle is it has very high handling capabilities. Right, as I said, for me personally, it almost drives as like a car, very easy to steer, easy going. It sits firmly on the road. That's some of the feedback I've got. And as I say, it says refinement and versatility make it a top full-size van, which is good. This fan it comes standard with that sliding glass, the sliding door, passenger entrance door. However, the option is to get the, I don't know what you call those doors, the open canopy or whatever doors. You know, that's an option. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure which one gives you more room getting in and out at this point. You know, but that until you actually go on site in a sense and kick the tires, you know, sit in the seat, then you get a more feel. You know, the one I do use, it has the open door, not the sliding door. which it doesn't compromise getting in and out in any way. Let's see. It does come with seat belts all around as the safety features, rear seat belts for, passengers in the back, and in the front, 3-point all position seat belts is standard. All those are standard, and curtain airbags, front passenger and driver's side airbags. All comes with. And as the emergency braking system, lane assist, all those are standard. Adaptive cruise control, adjustable speed limiting device system, all those are standard that it does come with. The only feature that that's not standard, optional, that I think would be an asset to this is the backup alarm. That's an optional feature that comes with this van, right? However, with this price, after speaking with the sales manager, he did mention to me that because it's a municipality purchase, there should be or will be reduction or credits, towards buying this vehicle. So sticker price at 46 could be even less than what is stated on the MSRP. So.
But the transit van,
Mhm.
I mean, for me, I think the safety features are important, whether they come on the van or not. I think if we purchase one, we should have those safety features. If it's extra, it's extra. Because we're gonna be carrying children, and if they're extra, then we need to purchase them. We need to have all the safety features you're able to get on that vehicle. We need to have them.
I think it's a worthwhile money spending for that. That's the safety part of it, definitely.
Okay. Ready? Other comments or questions as it relates to the purchase of a van? Any other questions? We do have this one before us. One, just as others are collecting their thoughts, now one of two things, I guess, to be considered. Number one, because it's not like buying in the old days. You went to the lot and there was a whole car lot full of cars. When you spoke with the dealer, or the representative, did they have any units available, or do you have to put in an order? Because in a lot of cars now, you have to order them and wait months and months and months and months.
Yes, I forgot to mention that part of it. I was speaking with him. These vehicles, they have to be ordered, and it will not be available until the first quarter of next year. So I guess the sooner you put in the order, the early in the quarter, you'll be able to receive it.
And that's a 2022, or is that gonna be a 2023?
23,
2023?
yes.
Okay.
If it's a brand new purchase, because I think after, is it July or August, it changes to the next year.
And I'm not sure if that had happened, maybe it had. I know there are some sites out there that'll, sometimes what'll happen is that someone will order a unit through different car makers and such, and they decide, never mind, I'm gonna cancel it. And so it becomes an available unit. Depending upon if there's any urgency or how soon council wants to move, if we want to kind of go that route. The only thing there is that one of the other questions to be asked is what color would we want to see the van? And if we were to say, well, we're going to take the first one because we'd like to, just this conversation, if one was out there and available, we wanted to just kind of showcase it at our festival and have it ready, and they said, yeah, we got one on the lot right now. And but it wasn't the color, would we be willing to compromise? Just things to be considered. So the other thing, of course, is that when you're buying a car nowadays, there's a mock-up. You know, so the MSRP is if I can get excited, and then some dealers have $5,000 to $10,000 markup just because they can. You know, there's no logical explanation, you know, just that there's a, you know, it's a seller's market right now. So just from the standpoint of immediacy, how soon do council want to see something happen?
If we did find one that somebody canceled, we would still want the safety features. So if it didn't have them, then it's a no deal.
Or you can add it.
We need all the safety features unless they can put them on aftermarket.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say.
Yes.
Because we don't wanna buy one just because they have it and then we're not getting everything we want.
Most vehicles don't come with the safety belts. You'll have to add them. If you use the company where you purchased the vehicle from, it's more expensive. However, the health department has a list of contractors that put them in that's less expensive. Because I had to do it when I was transporting kids, and it was less expensive to do it with with someone that was on that qualified list from the health department than when I had my Ford, and Ford was charging me an arm and leg to actually get it in the vehicle.
Okay. Ready? Again, just in terms of how soon do you want to see something happen? Is there sort of a time frame that you'd like to see a purchase take place? That sort of helps to kind of guide whether or not, you know, we want to order the one, you know, two-toned, or one blue, one yellow, or they got one available with all of the specs that we were asking.
I would say before Christmas, especially if you guys are going to be purchasing all those stuff for Christmas giveaway.
Okay. Righty, so we want to give direction then to, and just a question, so then do we want to give direction to administration that we sort of go out there, and I don't want to call any names, you know, there are different vendors out there that sort of provide information regarding available units, that if there's an available unit that meet all of the specs, and I think Howard knows what we're looking for, right, including the backup, little, we don't want to run over anybody.
Yeah, the backup beeper.
Why, that if you were to go out there tomorrow, for instance, and there was one out there for 42,000, say somebody canceled, we need to move it, what would be your position on that? Because again, there's other questions. What color do you want? Just as we're considering, but it happened to be red. Do you then say, never mind, we need to give some clear directions to it, to staff?
And what I might ask Mr. Mayor and Council is that, because this, I think, the staff is looking for direction on the type of vehicle, I would, as Manager Metcalf said at the beginning, I think it would be prudent to have this come back to you as a formal agenda item if you're narrowing down the type of car, and then have a not to exceed amount that you would approve, and then, as you say, if one becomes available. But I'm not sure tonight there's enough in the backup and enough quotes that have been obtained to meet your procurement policy. So as Ken said, if this could come back to you on the 1st of November, just to have a formal type, make, model of van and not to exceed amount that you actually approve.
One other question, this sliding door, is it on both sides?
One side.
One side?
Okay.
Well, Attorney, what you're saying is we do need to have more than just one price, one recommendation?
Well, I guess what I'm hearing is that on the car, he's making a recommendation of a Kona, right? A Hyundai Kona. So I think narrowing down for both vehicles, what type of vehicle, and then him having pricing before you so that your procurement code is met in terms of how many quotes need to be obtained for the various vehicles, or whether or not I think there's an opportunity in some circumstances to piggyback on the sheriff's department contract, but to actually have that come back before you with the requisite backup before you actually approve a purchase.
I agree. I am in favor of us moving with, looking at other prices and like Attorney mentioned, piggybacking off of another municipality, we can get a better price off the sheriff department or some other agency resources, but I think we need to really put all our time and energy in getting the van as soon as we can with those considerations in place. I know we need to have several prices, and I just wanted to look at.
Okay.
Alrighty, so with that, in terms of just, so we'll sort of isolate the van itself. The presentation tonight is to sort of determine if indeed this is the type of unit you want to pursue.
I'm in favor of this type of van, yes.
Okay, alrighty, of course, McConnell wants to back up, he wants to play to the music as he's backing up, so. Okay, alrighty,
Right.
that's the request, right?
I wanna make sure if there's kids behind there that I can see them.
We're not playing the ice cream song, so, okay. Okay, so this would be the Ford Transit would be the type. Now, the car, and just one opinion, that's all it is. The Kona is a small car. It's small. The Kicks is a little bit bigger, in terms of the interior room. They run about the same price. Yeah, so we need to give some direction in terms of what type of SUV, how big, how small. The Ford Escape is really a larger vehicle, but when we talked about that, you want to kind of just share briefly what?
The
Ford
Escape
Escape.
or the Econ. I look at the Ford EcoBoost. That's the one.
No, the Ford, the small, not that small one, but the mid one. I may be using the wrong. The Ford, I think it is the Escape.
I looked at the EcoBoost compared with the Ford.
Right, I think that's just the model of the one, because it has that feature, the EcoBoost feature. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the Ford Escape. It's sort of, it's not the, what is not the,
Explorer is the bigger one.
right, it's not the
Yeah, there's-
Explorer, it's smaller than the Explorer.
Yeah, there's an Escape, but I didn't preview
The Escape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an Escape, but I didn't preview the Escape. The one I was looking at was the EcoBoost, the Ford EcoBoost. That's the one I looked at.
Where is it? Let me see.
Ford EcoSport,
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is a little smaller, about
Yeah.
in the range
That's
of these.
EcoSport, yeah. The Ford EcoSport, that's the one I looked at, and I recommended that from, when I dove deeper into it, it was not a reliable vehicle. I think this is a smaller vehicle, yes, but this came on the platform of they built it from the Ford Fiesta. Back in 2018, they started it, and it's been riddled with different issues. So that's why I kind of slant away from it and went towards the Hyundai Kona, and I looked at the Nissan also. Those are the three that I really looked at. But as if Vice Mayor said that, get a bigger SUV, so it's more comfortable. But the reason why I didn't go look at a bigger one is to say, because if need be that multiple council members are traveling, the van will also be an option instead.
Okay.
You know.
No, generally what'll
So-
happen, I'm sorry, generally what'll happen would be about, I'm thinking in terms of just the Tri-City Barbecue, where it's about 3, maybe 4 of us. So that's generally how it shakes out. And that size car. Now, and initially, and I'm still sort of in the old day purchase, you go and buy 2 units to get better negotiating, but that's just not how it works anymore. So if we're going from manufacturer to manufacturer, the Toyota Cross would probably be the better, and I know it's probably going to cost a little bit more than this, but it's bigger, while still being fuel efficient. And I think they're running around, MSRP is around 24, 25 or something like that, so I'm not sure where that would put us. That's a consideration. It would be comfortable. If all of us had to go out to glaze that, we'd all be comfortable in it.
right. And I agree. I mean, we need to be able to fit all 5 of us in the vehicle comfortable, not sitting on half on top of one another and all that.
I agree.
You agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm hearing that we look at the Cross. get some information on that as well. Is that in the consideration bucket? Okay, all righty. So if that's it, but now if indeed the cross, has everyone seen it already? You've seen it already? Okay. Righty, just want to narrow as much as we can for Howard to pursue. Sorry, Vice Mayor.
Just noted on the agenda is only the decision on the van. We don't have a decision on the car for the agenda item. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think it was both.
Oh, and a vehicle to be used, I see. Okay.
Okay, all righty. Now, the only other thing is that we voted how much a total for 2 units? 2 automobiles? 70, 80?
80.
Okay, well, that'll get us,
80,
that'll
yes.
get us there. Okay. Again, if you want, this is not a hard commitment, but if indeed you haven't seen the cross before, and you think that might be better, just based upon what you're hearing, there's a little information, just go out and take a look at it, look at the interior. They have that 360 as well as the interior. You can take a look at it, and if that's what you want, then we can get information to Ken. We can start pursuing it, get all of the requisite documents and information we need to bring before us for the transit and the cross. Okay.
Well, if we're gonna buy Ford, should get a better deal if we're gonna buy 2 of them. No?
That was my
I-
thought, but
I explored-
it's different now.
I explored that option also with the guy, and he basically laughed at me. Said that you have some municipalities buying 15 to 30 vehicles. We're only buying 1 or 2.
Yeah, yeah. I've gone to a couple of car lots, and the analogy I would use is like, I went in there with my, if you like basketball, remember the short shorts and the high top and the tube socks way up the knee? I went in like that when everybody else was dressed, if you will. That's, if I can give an analogy. It's totally different now. It's
Yes.
totally different. Yeah,
Well,
I tried that.
I know when we was buying police cars, we piggybacked on the sheriff's office.
It's a different ballgame now.
Yeah.
It's different. Yeah. Okay. All righty, so the cross, unless otherwise stated. What's your pleasure?
Cross.
Sounds good to me. I'm not sure what the cross looks like, but from what you stated, it sounds like it would be usable.
Yeah, it's bigger. It's bigger than either one of these units.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, without being too big. Okay, so Howard will secure that information for us and bring it back.
Sure, you got it.
If that's
Great,
the
that's
pleasure of
fine.
the council. Okay.
Okay.
All righty, so for clarity, the direction is to pursue the transit
Mm-hmm.
and the cross.
Okay,
Right, okay, and then all of the information to be gathered and brought before us.
bring it back. Okay.
All right, now, what colors? Because I know we're going to address it sooner or later, but if you want to throw some colors at him, and that way he'll kind of know when he gets ready to order.
I bought red, white, and blue.
Well, I just want to ask this. I know the standard colors of white and black are usually a lower price. I don't know if that's still viable nowadays. Okay, so I don't have a problem with white because we can still put our seal on it and you know,
Stamp that.
whatever additional information we want to put on the flag on it or whatever. We could do it on the white background better than we could on a colored background. So I'm okay with the white. All of our vehicles are already white. So it would be in uniformity with the vehicles we already have.
Okay, ready? Other comments? Okay, all righty, so there we go.
Good. All right.
So you guys don't want the bold blue, what do you call it? Okay. Or that new moonstruck gray or something they call it. It's, yeah.
Only
Okay.
if you get it at a discount price.
Try,
Okay,
definitely.
I think so, we appreciate it, and we look forward to the next presentation where we can hopefully be in a position to make a decision. Okay, all righty.
Sounds like shopping for cars and vehicles is not as much fun as it used to be.
Mm-mm.
It's all online now.
Yeah, there's no haggling, it's, yeah.
Mm.
It's different.
Wow, thank you for your work on that, Howard.
All right, thanks again. Okay, our next item is item 7D, and this is, oh, I'm sorry.
That was the.
Okay, that was D. Okay, and for some reason, I don't have a
I
rest
don't
of
have
my
an
agenda.
8 either. I don't have an 8, this 9 is the next one I see.
Alrighty, so at this point, based upon the agenda I have, that is the
Agenda item
last of our
9.
action
It
items.
should be public comments, number 8. I don't know why you don't.
Okay, so at this time, we'll go now to our public comments. If there's any comments from the public, we'll take those now. Okay, all right, hi to you as well. Okay,
So glad to have you in our audience.
alrighty, so with that, seeing that there's no additional comments from the public, we'll close public comment. At this time, we'll go to our reports. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, thank you for your time this evening. Just a few items, because most of you got the printed report in our one-on-ones, and I do thank you for the one-on-one time. That's very valuable to me, and I hope you find it to be beneficial. On September 24th, we had a town cleanup that was sponsored by the Youth Council, and we had about 20 volunteers. I thought it went very well. We have some of those volunteers in the audience tonight from the Youth Council.
Good, well, thank you guys.
So that was, I think we had a good time. Ate a couple of donuts and picked up a little trash, and so it was good. So modest beginnings. You know, the goal is to have about 100 volunteers at these, but thanks to the Youth Council for their efforts there. They were very happy to be here, and it went well. Heritage Festival, 75th anniversary version is Saturday the 29th, so that's coming up on about a week. I guess I better throw some plans together for that. It's coming up. No, we're ready for it. We're going to have 3 football games beginning at 11 o'clock, so 11, 12, and 1. That's from the PAL League, Police Athletic League. They're doing that. Going to have a lot of good food. One of the cooks is present with us tonight. So there'll be a lot of food, free food for anyone that comes out. We've got some great entertainment, a band that comes from all over, Tommy G and The Shift. Very professional group. I think we had a few of these members at least a few years ago. So we're looking forward to that. We've got a lot of kids' activities to include, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm going to say Nintendo, but that probably shows how old I am. PS whatever, is it 5? Thanks, Howard. PS5 tournament on a big screen, and then later around 5:30 or so, we're going to have a movie on the big screen. So we've got a lot of good things going. Kids Zone, face painting, all kinds of good stuff. We will be dedicating the playground to Mr. Thomas to start out the day. We do have a marching band coming from John F. Kennedy, JFK, from Kennedy Middle School, and just a lot of good friends. We're expecting a great turnout. Our banners are not up, but I'm expecting at least 2 up by the end of this week. We've kind of got held up by the county a good bit, so we'll have them all up eventually, but at least we'll have our heritage banners up this week. And finally, I did want to congratulate Mark A. one more time on his winning entry. And also at the Heritage Festival, what we'll be doing at the community center that day is we're going to have a lot of information on what's going to be on the ballot for the November 8th election. And we're also going to have some health information, almost like a miniature health fair, if you will, at the community center that day. So 11 to 7 at the park. And what time at the community center? I've forgotten, Sherry. For that. Yeah, okay. We'll get back with you on that. But it probably morning time for a couple of hours. Anyway, that's all that I have. And of course, anything that you have in your printed report, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks so much. Any questions, McKenna? Okay. Thanks so much, and we look forward to all of the festivities going. So at this time, we'll go now to Amity.
Nothing specific, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Amity? Okay, all right, thanks so much. So at this time, we'll now go to council comments. Councilwoman Webb, you have anything? Okay, Councilman McConnell?
No, nothing.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Yes, I do have one comment. I attended a conference last week, Thursday, the 13th of October, was the Faith in Action, where they have a unification of ministries, churches, resources. And to the point where they have a callback, they've developed a toll-free number, and I wish I brought my folder here with me, but I was running with so much today. But the toll-free number for individuals, if we have someone that comes to us as homeless, we can give them the toll-free number, or if they're looking for a job, or we can give them the toll-free number, or whatever their need is. They can call this toll-free number, and the toll-free number will process them through what their interest is, all the way to make an appointment directly with the agency that can meet their need. So this is something that they've been working on for about a year, and November 2nd is when they're having the rollout of the full network. So that also gives the opportunity for agencies to go online, put their website information in, so when the call center is talking with a caller, they can go right to the website, give details on what Mangonia Park has coming up or whatever, and give that detail right to the caller. So it's a very thorough process that they're putting together, refining, I should say. They have it together, but they're refining it to make sure they have all the service needs included in this call center process. So I would love for Mangonia Park to have a link in that network so that we could, be available for whatever we have. We'll be having more parks and recreation things coming up. We could have those details placed in there, whatever services that we have available or whatever. But that's my little input, and I'm just excited about our anniversary plans. I'm just so anxious to see everything come off well. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And thanks so much. We appreciate it. I have nothing as well, so if there's nothing else, be sure.
I so move.
Okay, motion has been made for adjournment.
Second.
Properly second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Thanks so much. We'll see you at the next meeting, actually, in 2 weeks,
On-
the festival.
Just one more thing before you all leave,
Uh-oh.
on the van.
Oh, let's go to a meeting, because we actually.
You're adjourned, so you should communicate through the manager.
No, I just wanted to ask him a question
Okay.
about the van.
Okay, we'll have you get with him. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, because we actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Your mask is falling behind your seat.
Oh, I made it through. I was exhausted.
Oscar, that's what I was trying to think of the name of the network. Oscar.
Mirror.